Yo, what is up? It's your boy Ding and Talks. Welcome back to another video. Sorry I've been lacking on the videos. I haven't uploaded a video in about a week. I'm really sorry for that. But hey, we're back uploading now, and shout out to you guys who are still watching. And yeah, anyway, in this video, I'm basically going to be giving each team a grade for the first month of the NBA, and this grading system will basically be based on expectations. So, for example, a C is about what everyone expected them to be, I guess. But yeah, anyway, we're going to go by alphabetical order, each team, and we're going to start off with the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm going to give them a C. They have a 7 win, 7 loss record. They're the 7th seed in the West. They started the season off terrific. They beat some teams such as the 76ers and the Nets, but have kind of dropped the ball in the second half of the month. They've lost to teams like the Knicks, the Cavs, the Hornets, who aren't bad teams, but aren't really playoff teams. Trae Young's been struggling a little in some games, and obviously their bench is mainly injured, or their good players on the bench, such as Chris Dunn, Gallinari, and recently Bogdan Bogdanovic. And I think their ceiling is high. I just think they're having a rough patch, especially with those injuries. Yeah, moving on, we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics. I'm giving the Boston Celtics a B+. And I know the expectation was to be good, but I'm giving them a B+ more because they are the 3rd seed currently, and I really am giving them a higher rating because they've won games without Tatum and without Kemba Walker, which is good to see because the Celtics do need, their second unit to play well. Because I have noticed that in the past they will either have Tatum or Brown playing alongside the second unit, which I understand, and it would be great for the Celtics to put more trust into their bench players to play great and get stops and not really crumble and lose them games. And I think they're all capable of doing it. Of course they are. They're all NBA players. And also Jaylen Brown's been improving, looking great. And Peyton Pritchard looks great. Looks like a steal of the draft. So yeah, another great season for the Celtics. Moving on, we have the Brooklyn Nets. Now this is a controversial one, but I'm going to give the Brooklyn Nets a C. Now, the Nets are difficult to rank because I think we all thought that they would take over the Eastern Conference, but they haven't really done that. Currently, they're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, and I think a lot to do with that is their defensive problems, and also the problem with Kyrie and his absence in some important games. Obviously, getting James Harden on this team is a big W, but their expectations are so high now with James Harden also on this team. They were high before, and they're even higher now. And without adding some more two-way players onto this team, I do have a concern that they will not meet those expectations. I don't think DeAndre Jordan being your starting center is really serviceable. I don't think he's a serviceable starting center. Anyway, so yeah, I think they should trade Kyrie for a defensive center and maybe some more defensive wings. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, moving on, we have the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going to give the Charlotte Hornets a C-. I think people thought that the Hornets would be a low playoff team. But they're the 11th seed so far, which is not near the top 8 seed. They have had some wins, and seeing LaMelo Ball playing well is great, but their team success just isn't there. There are some individuals who are playing great, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, but I'm really ranking the team, not the players, so I'm going to give them a C-. They're not really meeting some expectations I had for them personally. But yeah, moving on, I'm going to give the Chicago Bulls a C. Now, I'm giving the Bulls a C because they are playing how everyone expected them, which is basically that they will win games here and there, but they will lose some easy games or some games that they could win, obviously. And the thing I think that the problem with the Bulls is really that they do crumble in that fourth quarter. A couple days ago, for example, they lost a game against the OKC where they were winning by 20 at one point, and in that last quarter they were struggling to get some points up and get some stops. But shout out to Patrick Williams. He's been playing great, looking like a good draft pick for them. And Kobe White's been looking great, good sophomore player. Anyway, moving on. Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm going to give a B. Now, I'm giving the Cavs a B because of their two guards playing so great and stringing wins for the team. They're currently the 6th seed, which I don't think is where they'll end up by the end of the season, but I'm ranking them based on now. So yeah, good on the Cavs for playing some good basketball. Shout out to Sexton and to Garland, and shout out to Drummond for playing actually good. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to give them a C. And I'm going to give them a C because without Porzingis for the first 9 games, we all knew that they would be struggling to get wins because it was really Luka carrying, right? And I don't think any player can carry a team like that, or any, I don't know. Anyway, but, Luka's been great, Tim Hardaway's been great, and then Porzingis has been great in the few games he's played so far. But yeah, I think their ceiling isn't as high now, but it will be in the future. So yeah, C for the Dallas Mavericks. Anyway, moving on to the Denver Nuggets. I'm going to give the Denver Nuggets a D. I'm going to give the Denver Nuggets a D because, the Nuggets were looked at as a top 3 seed coming into this season. Currently they're the 10th seed, which is below everyone's expectations dramatically. Individually, Jokic is having his best season. He's putting up MVP numbers. Jamal Murray's been okay, but MPJ isn't playing, and I think that is affecting them getting wins. So yeah, I think this is just a slump. They will win, and I think they will be great, and they will be in the playoffs for sure. But yeah, moving on, I'm going to give the Detroit Pistons a C, because I think we all knew that the Detroit Pistons were going to be the worst team in the league. I mean, you have Mason Plumlee as your starting center. I don't think you're going to be the best team. I think you're going to be the worst team. I think you're guaranteed to be the worst team with Mason Plumlee as your starting center. But hey, shout out to Jeremy Grant for putting up some good stats and looking like an all-star. And please trade Blake Griffin and D Rose. Thank you. Anyway, moving on, we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to give them a B-, and I'm going to give them a B- because, without Clay, they're still a playoff team, and without their players that are considered good not playing as well as everyone thought they would, they're still a playoff team. And I think that is due to how, impactful Steph Curry is and how great he is at leading a team. So yeah, shout out to Steph Curry, shout out to Draymond. Even though he's not putting up points, he's still, guiding James Wiseman, for example, and helping him out. So yeah, moving on, Houston Rockets, I'm going to give a D, because I think we all thought the Rockets would still be a playoff team without Russell Westbrook. I think we can all agree on that. And I know Harden's been traded, but even with the games that Harden was there and playing, they weren't playing as good as we all thought they would be. And that could be due to him, not trying because of what's been going on with him. But yeah, anyway, moving on, I'm going to give the Indiana Pacers a B-. I'm giving the Indiana Pacers a B- because they have been playing great. They've been playing great this season, and some of their players are looking really good. These players include Sabonis, Brogdon, Miles Turner. Yeah, they look good. And I know Victor Oladipo has been traded, but when he was there, he was putting up 20 points on some nights, so he's looking like his former self. So yeah, that's good to see. Moving on, we have the LA Clippers. I'm going to give the LA Clippers a B+, because there were a lot of people I saw counting out the Clippers this year because of what happened with the playoffs last season. Well, this team's made some big changes and proving people wrong, really. They're currently the first seed in the West, and the 2 stars of the team has been playing great. So yeah, shout out to the Clippers. Anyway, now we have the other Los Angeles team, the Lakers. I'm going to give the Lakers a B. I mean, we all knew the Lakers can win games. I don't really need to say more. They are meeting expectations, and the team's playing well. They're putting up, good wins. Schroeder's been playing well. Montrezl Harrell has had some good games. He has had some bad games, but hey, they're all looking good. As a team, they're looking great. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm going to give the Memphis Grizzlies a C+. Currently the 8th seed. They've won games without Ja. Ja's been playing great in the games he has played. But yeah, I don't need to say much. They've just been playing good basketball. Anyway, moving on. Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going to give a D. The reason is because, we knew that the Wolves wouldn't be a great team, but with the additions of Anthony Edwards and Ricky Rubio, I thought they would honestly be a decent team, a 9th seed, a 10th seed. For them to be the 15th seed in the West is a bit, yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched many games because I'm not really a fan of the Timberwolves at all. I do like some of their players, and I understand that Cat hasn't really been playing, but hey, this is my opinion. But yeah, they could improve, I don't know. Moving on, Pelicans. I'm going to give them a C-. And the reason for that is there's no spacing in that team. When both Steven Adams and Zion are on the court, it's really bad. Like, really bad, right? Don't get me wrong, both of these players are great, but together, it just doesn't make sense, right? Ingram's been putting up good numbers, Zion's been putting up good numbers, but the team hasn't been performing as well as I thought they would be. But yeah, moving on, New York Knicks, B. I'm going to give the New York Knicks a B because coming into the season, I thought there was no chance at all that the Knicks would be a top 8 seed, but they're there. And I have to give them their props. Julius Randle's looking great. Emmanuel Quickly looks good. He's had some big games, and the team has gotten some big wins in the first month back. So yeah, shout out to the New York Knicks. I think they're the 8th seed. So yeah, shout out to them. OKC, I'm gonna give them a C plus. Like the Knicks, getting rid of Schroeder and CP3, I thought they would be kind of trash, but they're actually putting up a fight against some good teams. They may not be a high seed, but the games that they've played against those top teams have been close ones. So yeah, moving on. OKC. Orlando Magic, I'm gonna give a C plus. Started the season off great. I think they were undefeated for the first 4 or 5 games. Then they lost Markel to that big injury, which is a bit shit. Cole Anthony's been playing great. Vucevic has been playing great. Aaron Gordon's showed some good games and had some big games. But they have beaten some big teams. But they played well. But yeah, I think they're the 9th seed, which I think where we all expected them to be, around there, 9th or 10th. So yeah, I'm gonna give them a C plus. Anyway, moving on, the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm gonna give them a B plus. Currently the number 1 seed, and have finally built a good team around Simmons and Joel, right? Seth Curry's playing great, Danny Green's playing his role nicely, and Tyrese Maxey is looking really good and looking like a steal from the draft. So yeah, shout out to the Philly 76ers, but yeah, moving on. Phoenix Suns, I'm going to give a B+. I mean, they went from a 10th seed to a 4th seed in a year's time, which is probably due to CP3's impact, which I have talked about in the previous video. There are some younger players in that team that have looked great. Some of these players are Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, especially Mikal Bridges. He's been looking really good out there. Devin Booker has taken a step down when it comes to scoring, but I think that has to do with playing alongside Chris Paul, which isn't a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, if anything. Moving on, Portland Trailblazers, I'm gonna give a C plus. Coming into the season, I thought Portland would be a fifth or 6th seed. With the new additions of the defensive wings such as Derek Jones Jr. and Robert Covington, and they're meeting my expectations. They're currently the 6th seed. CJ's looked great. He's looked his greatest. He's putting up like 26 points alongside Dame. Dame's been putting up like 28 points. So yeah, shout out to them. Moving on, we've got the Kings. The Kings, I'm going to give a D plus. I had some high hopes for the Kings team. They were fine at the start of the season, but they really have collapsed in the last couple of games. Which isn't good to see because they are one of my favourite teams. I really do like De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. But, with losing, they have also had some ups with, Tyrese Halliburton playing really good and looking like a, top 5 pick, not a lottery pick or not a top, not a 12th pick. But yeah, he's looked great. So shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. Moving on, San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to give them a B minus. The Spurs are currently the 8th seed in the West, and I thought they would be about a 10th or 11th seed this year. But they're showing they can play good basketball, and some of their players have been great so far. DeMar has been improved his three-pointer, which is good to see. DeJounte Murray has improved his offensive game. Keldon Johnson's looking really good, looking like a good sophomore player, putting up like 14 points a game, and had some really big games, putting up like 30 points, 20 points. So yeah, shout out to the Spurs. The Raptors, I'm going to have to give an F minus. I can't believe a team that was contending last year can collapse so bad that they're now a 13th seed. I don't really want to talk about why they're losing. I think it's very clear. They're not really gelling. I think they're trying to turn some of their players into players they're not. Siakam hasn't been playing good. But yeah, I do think they can turn this team around and this losing team to a winning team. But yeah, we'll see. Moving on, Utah Jazz, I'm going to give a B minus. They're currently the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. They've had some really good wins. Jordan Clarkson is playing great. Donovan Mitchell's playing well. Rudy Gobert's looking a bit overpaid, but that's fine. But there's not really more to be said. They've just won games. They've put up a fight. But yeah, it's really up to Donovan Mitchell to score because they do struggle with some other scoring options apart from Donovan Mitchell. So yeah. And finally, the Washington Wizards, I'm going to give an F. Look, I'm very disappointed with the Wizards because I thought, personally, that Russell Westbrook was a player that could take any team to the playoffs. But I'm kind of doubting that this season. Beal's been playing amazing, but their defense is so bad, and I don't know if they can improve it without taking minutes from Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant is one of the worst defensive centers in the league. He's great offensively, don't get me wrong, but defensively he really struggles. But yeah, anyway, this is just my opinions on all the 30 teams and what grade I would give them for either exceeding expectations or not. So yeah, anyway guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe, comment, like. Please comment any video ideas you want me to talk about or discussion points you want me to talk about. But yeah, leave a like. Shout out to you guys. Peace.